is going on, everybody? Zyonik here, and in today's video we are jumping into our first battles of Season 2 for Pokemon Go Battle League. Now I don't know about you guys, but I am so excited that Season 2 is finally here. It feels like a fresh start. We've learned a lot from Season 1, so starting over with a fresh record and getting right into it I think is going to be a lot of fun. So be sure to let me know down in the comments what your guys' goals are for Season 2. For us here on the channel, we're going to do our best to try to hit rank 10 this season, and I also want to try to push a 65% win rate overall. I think it's possible, but it's going to be very difficult. Now, today's team, there has been an update in Pokemon Go PvP to the charge move of Wild Charge. If you guys didn't know, this thing hits like a truck now. We're going to talk more about that and why Alolan Raichu is looking pretty solid for Season 2 at the end of the video. But let's go ahead and jump right into these first battles. Alright, so here we go. We're going to be going down the Premier Pass path. Because as a veteran battler, I feel like I can do really well in these early ranks and get those rewards. We're going to be risking it for the biscuit here. And in today's video, we don't face a lot of meta. If I'm being honest, everyone, this is rank 1 and we are facing some spice, which is great to see. You guys are going to see some really unique Pokemon today, but you're also going to see the capabilities that Wild Charge has. So we have Alolan Raichu versus Crustle on the lead. Crustle having that Fury Cutter. We're going to get out of there and we're going to go into Vigoroth here. Counter's going to do quite a bit of damage. Not a lot, but it's going to do enough. Plus, I'm thinking my opponent is just going to be shielding because Body Slams are going to be resisted here. So I'm guessing they're going to want to just shield whatever's coming their way, which they do. So this is fine for us. We're just going to keep countering down, and now we're going to mirror shields. Now this team that I have of Alolan Raichu, Umbreon, and Vigoroth, I don't know if it's the best, but we're going to try our best to find a very good Alolan Raichu team, and this is just what I kind of wanted to start with. Vigoroth on the safe switch is really strong with Body Slam spam, especially with counter damage. So now we're shielding this next Rock Blast right here, because we're going to be able to beat our opponent to the Body Slam, and we're going to be able to take it out even though it's going to be resisted here. So we win switch advantage here, and we'll have to see what they bring in next. And the next Pokemon is going to be a Scyther. Okay, so really spicy team. Body Slam here. Going to be doing quite a bit of damage, but this is a Fury Cutter, I believe, Scyther as well. Yeah, another Fury Cutter Scyther. With a pretty hard-hitting fast move for our Alolan Raichu, which you guys are going to see is going to be Night Slash. So we're not coming back in with Alolan Raichu. We're going to come back in with Umbreon and just kind of bulk this thing down, get a little bit of energy past Foul Play. We're going to let him hit us with the Night Slash. This is perfectly fine. We still have Alolan Raichu, which can sweep a lot of teams if played well. And we are just going to farm a little bit extra and now throw the Foul Play here to take out the Scyther. So we'll have to see what the final Pokemon is. And I'm guessing it's not going to be meta. It's going to be a Roselia, and my opponent surrenders. So good first game right there. Really spicy picks that we are facing here. Like I said, we don't run into Registeels. We don't run into Azumarill. So yeah, rank 1 is pretty interesting. What are some of the most unique Pokemon that you guys have been seeing? I think the most unique one is probably No. There's another unique one here. I think in Game 3. So we have Roselia on the lead with Razor Leaf. So we're going to go ahead and get out of there. We're going to go into Vigoroth right now. Razor Leaf is absolutely going to destroy us right here, but Body Slam can still do quite a bit of damage if they decide not to shield. But again, we want to apply pressure to shields. We know that because of Razor Leaf, they can't get a charge move off before we get 2 Body Slams. So we can win shield advantage right here, which is perfectly fine. We'll see if they go 2 shields. They don't. So we're actually going to be able to take it out with counter. So we won switch advantage. We have 2 shields still, and we're going to see an Arcanine come in. So Arcanine having that Fire Fang, and it does have access to Wild Charge, could be a really spicy anti-meta pick, but I think the bulk that it doesn't have might hinder it long term. So we're coming back in with Alolan Raichu, going off with the Thunder Punch here to get a shield, and then we are going to build up to the Wild Charge right here, and we're going to go for Wild Charge. I think I could have gotten away with Thunder Punch right there, if I'm being honest. Now this is kind of risky because if they have a Charmer in the back, it's going to be a close game, but they have a Gyarados. So that is okay. Again, like I said, these are not hyper meta games, guys. We are in rank 1, and we're using Umbreon here, foul plays, and we have 2 shields, so it's basically going to be a GG. Umbreon is a fantastic generalist, everyone. If you haven't invested in one yet, you definitely want to get one for long term. And if you don't have Last Resort, you're going to need that. But you can get that, I believe, in December based on the last community days to evolve it and get Last Resort. And Umbreon is just a solid pick. So we're going to go ahead and move into the next battle. Let's see what spicy Pokemon come here in Game 3. Now, like I said, Alolan Raichu I think is going to be an up-and-coming hyper-meta Pokemon because it can break the Azumarill Registeel core and do a ton of damage with Wild Charge. So, we're facing Cloyster on the lead, which is really good. Look at how much damage Volt Switch is doing. That's just ridiculous. We see them swap into Alolan Ninetales, so we're going to go ahead and put pressure with Thunder Punch. I have a feeling they are going to shield. Now, I just assumed that this is a Charm, so we're going with Vigoroth, but it actually is a Powder Snow. I didn't pay attention to the fast move right away because I just went for the Thunder Punch, which is why I didn't bring in Umbreon, but that's okay. Vigoroth can handle this. Even though Ice Beam does quite a bit of damage, they are still at a shield deficit compared to us, and Powder Snow is not going to be enough to take us out, so we will be applying shield pressure right here with Body Slam. The Body Slam gets the second shield, which is really good. We're able to get off another one right here. This should take out the Alolan Ninetales, but I think it just barely survives. Yeah, just barely survives, and they're actually able to get to another charge move. So what I'm going to do is, instead of winning switch advantage, I have 2 shields. So we're going to go ahead and let the Vigoroth go down, and we're going to come in with Alolan Raichu to get some more energy. 1 Volt Switch gives us so much energy, everyone, that we can probably sweep teams now. So we're going to see the Cloyster come back in. We're going to farm a little bit. They're actually able to get off the Icy Wind right here. Now we are going to shield, and then we're going to go for the Thunder Punch, I believe, after 1 more Volt Switch. So I'm going to go 1 more Volt Switch. We're going for Thunder Punch now. This will take out the Cloyster, and we'll have to see what is in the back, but whatever it is, we're going to Wild Charge it. We still have a shield, and it is going to be a Miss Magnus. So again, another spicy Pokemon, but Wild Charge just does so much damage, everyone. It's actually ridiculous, and we take out the Miss Magius right there. So good game, and we're going to move into the next one here. I think this was the really spicy game, if I remember right. Game 4 was very, or maybe no, this was the close one. I think this is a Wild Charge fest. There's Wild Charges going everywhere. It's going to be Alolan Raichu versus Raikou. Yeah, so Raikou also has access to Wild Charge, Thunder Shock, Wild Charge, Shadow Ball, which is a pretty solid moveset. But yeah, it's good, but it can't really break the Registeel Azumarill core, but I think it has upward potential, but it is a legendary. So we are just going to go for Thunder Punches here, I believe. No, I go for a Wild Charge. I definitely think I should have been going for Thunder Punches, as I know they're probably going to be shielding, and what I'm worried about, and the reason why I'm shielding, is I've never really faced off against Raikou, and I know it has Shadow Ball, so I need to be prepared for that, which is why we see a swap now to Alolan Raichu. So we're going to go ahead and swap now into our Umbreon. Now this Umbreon is going to be taking quite a bit of damage from Wild Charge, everyone. As you guys are going to see, it does just under 50%, maybe like 40, 45. But they're actually running a Spark variant, which means they're not going to get energy as quickly. Volt Switch is definitely the charge move you want to, or fast move you want to be going with. Now we do get a shield, and then my opponent makes a mistake right here. They're going for the wrong charge move. If this was a Volt Switch, we would have died, but it's going to be a Grass Knot, so we're actually able to get off the foul play right there. So that was a really close call right there. If they had Volt Switch and went double Wild Charge, I think that they would have won switch advantage right there, and it would have been pretty deadly. And now we're not able to get off a foul play right there against the Raikou. So I'm hoping they're going to go for a Shadow Ball, so I'm bringing in Vigoroth right here to soak the damage, because I know they're instantly hitting the charge move, and I'm hoping this is Shadow Ball, but it's not. It's Wild Charge. So now we're going to swap back into Alolan Raichu, go for our own Wild Charge right here to finish off the Raikou. Again, probably could have gone for Thunder Punch considering where it's at, but I don't know. And the final Pokemon, Skarmory. This is what you guys are going to see. Wild Charge, and we get to it so quickly, guys. Alolan Raichu, honestly, you guys need to be on the lookout for this, because it is going to be an up-and-coming hyper-meta Pokemon in the Great League, and that is going to be a good game. Now, moving into the next battle, I believe this was the spiciest battle of the set right here. There were Pokemon that I had never seen used before in the Great League, and we're about to face them. So yeah, Alolan Raichu, really strong. 10,000 Stardust to unlock, and you guys can easily trade for it because it's in raids a lot. And we have Raichu versus Thraw. Now, this is pretty interesting because we are a Psychic typing. We're going to be resisting those fighting moves, which is really good. We see a swap into Seviper. I'm like, oh my goodness, this team is so spicy. So we're going to go for the Thunder Punch here. I don't want to waste all of my energy. So we're going to go for Thunder Punch, get a shield, and then we're going to go straight into Vigoroth right here. Again, Thraw has those fighting type moves, even though they're not too hard hitting. I definitely want to line up Vigoroth versus Seviper right here, and then Poison Fang coming in. And honestly, I had no clue what charge moves Seviper had. I'm just going to finish it off, and the Seviper wasn't even near 1500. It was 1100 combat power. So this battle is obviously very, very new to PvP. So welcome, but yeah, welcome to Vigoroth. So we have Quilava coming in. We're going straight for Body Slam. This should get his second shield, which it does, and then we're going to go straight for the Bulldoze. And this is a 991 Quilava. Like, welcome to rank 1 battles, and we actually go down. We weren't able to get Bulldoze because the lag took us out, so we're going to bring in our Umbreon to soak the charge move right here. I don't want to get hit on Alolan Raichu, and then we're just going to go ahead and swap now to Alolan Raichu because I know we can win this. We're going to go for the Thunder Punch here to take out the Quilava, and then we're going to be going for Wild Charge against the Thraw right here. So this is going to be a good battle, but my opponent didn't have any meta Pokemon, and all of his Pokemon were nowhere near 1500 combat power. So yeah, rank 1 battles, everyone. This is fun. So those were my first battles right there. We ended up going 5-0, rightfully so. I think if I would have lost to some of those teams, that wouldn't have been good. But that's okay because we are in rank 1. And this is why I say use those passes in those early ranks because you can get a lot of easy, or not easy wins, but it's going to be a lot easier to get 5 wins at rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 than it is at rank 9, if that makes sense. So let's go ahead and talk about the team. All right, so moving into the deep dive portion, now we're going to be talking about what I'm calling a Z rating or an investment rating. The higher the number, the more I would suggest you look to invest in this Pokemon because of its capabilities to handle the meta. But it's also all my opinion, so take it all with a grain of salt here. We're going to start off with Vigoroth, actually. So Vigoroth, I think, is one of those pivotal Pokemon that can really be fantastic on the safe switch on certain teams. Now, he's not ranked too high. Actually, he's ranked really high. My bad. He is ranked 12 now. And the reason why is his Body Slam spam. This thing is absolutely ridiculous, guys. Counter, Body Slam, Bulldoze, fantastic move set for him. Do not go for Brick Break. You definitely want to have Counter as a fast move. Do not have Scratch. But Body Slam, Bulldoze, I think is fantastic coverage. The Bulldoze is like solely there for that Registeel. That's exactly what it's going to be there for. Body Slam, almost everything else. And he can really win you switch advantage if you lose lead. Now, his biggest weaknesses are going to be fighting. That's the only thing he's going to be weak to. And he can also resist Ghost, which is fantastic with this team because if you can time it right, you can soak Shadow Balls on a Vigoroth. Next up, we have Umbreon. Umbreon, rank 8. These guys are really ranked highly. Snarl, Foul Play, Last Resort. That's really the ideal moveset you want to go for. Again, Umbreon is a fantastic generalist. It's super bulky and it can win out a lot of matches when it has energy advantage because Snarl has a very high energy per turn. Now you need to watch out for Charm and Fighters. That's basically your big threats. There's also that Bug as well, but really Charm and Fighting moves will absolutely destroy you. So like a Focus Blast from Registeel, for example. As for movesets, fast move, you definitely want to have Snarl. Snarl is the best dark type fast move right now in the game. It has super high energy gain. Do not go with Feint Attack, please. As for charge moves, Foul Play and Dark Pulse could be interchangeable. Foul Play is more spammy. Dark Pulse just hits a little bit harder, so it's up to you. I personally like Foul Play. And then Last Resort is a Community Day move that really helps Umbreon out against Pokemon that would otherwise resist Dark type moves. And I think it's pretty mandatory as you climb higher in the ranks to be having a Last Resort Umbreon. Big weaknesses, like we said, Bug, Fairy, Fighting. We don't see a lot of Bug fast moves and charge moves utilized in the meta, but we do see a lot of Fairy and Fighting, so watch out for that. And you'll also be resisting Ghost, Dark, and Psychic, which is pretty nice because Alolan Raichu is going to be very weak to Ghost and Dark, so that's where Umbreon can kind of help out as a bulky defensive option there. Now for Vigoroth and Umbreon, we're both going to give them 8.5s. I think they're really solid there fantastic generalists, but the reason why they're not like 9 or 10s is the fact that they can't manhandle Azumarill and Registeel, as that is pretty much the meta right now, is those two Pokemon. So they can't both, like an Umbreon could beat a Registeel in a given situation, and it could beat an Azumarill in a given situation when we're talking about shields, how much health the Azumarill has, but it can't just wall it, right? It can't do that. Vigoroth as well potentially has that option to beat both of them, but it's not a hard win, which is why they're not going to be 10s in my book. But Alolan Raichu is ranked 55 overall, which is still pretty good. But this thing can put a hurt on the Azumarill Registeel core. And with the buff to Wild Charge, where now it does 100 damage for 45 energy, but it also gives you -2 on your defenses, Alolan Raichu can basically one-shot a lot of stuff in the meta, or just do a huge chunk of health if you can play it right. And I think Alolan Raichu will have one of the highest skill caps in terms of gameplay. And it's just going to be really strong, guys. Alolan Raichu is here for Season 2, so you need to be prepared. Now, those big key wins that we get is Azumarill Registeel. It breaks apart that core. On top of that, it can beat things like Skarmory, Defense Form Deoxys, and Alolan Marowak as well with that Wild Charge update. It does have to watch out for basically Ghosts, Dark, what else? Ground, Bug. Yeah, Ground, Bug I think are going to be pretty big as well. Maybe not Bug, but the Ground, so like Mud Boys. But the thing is, Alolan Raichu can also threaten with Grass Knot. It does have access to that. So you could run a Wild Charge Grass Knot variant, and if your opponent is not ready for that Grass Knot, it'll one-shot one of those Mud Boys. And then Wild Charge just does so much damage right there. As for the fast moves, it is saying Thunder Shock, but I definitely think Volt Switch is going to be better. I'm not sure why it says Thunder Shock and has Volt Switch at 0.1%. I definitely think Volt Switch is better, everyone. It does so much damage, and the energy gain is ridiculous. So definitely go with Volt Switch. And then charge moves. I think how we use an Alolan Raichu is going to impact the moves that we have. So as you guys saw in this video, I led with it, which is why I have Thunder Punch Wild Charge. But if I was going to utilize it on a safe switch option, I think I need that Grass Knot for the potential Mud Boys that are coming in. So you probably go Wild Charge, Grass Knot on the safe switch. On leads, I think Thunder Punch Wild Charge, because you have the capability to shield bait and then hit hard-hitting moves with Wild Charge, which is definitely what you want to have. I'm going to give Alolan Raichu a 9.5 overall. The reason why it's not a 10, maybe a 9, 9.5, the reason why it's not a 10 is because it is not very bulky. It's very glassy, and it's going to require a high skill cap to master and get its full potential out of it, right? But I think it is going to be very strong. Wild Charge just hits everything super hard, and it has coverage moves as well potentially. So there's a really great investment opportunity right here. Like I said, Alolan Raichu has been in raids for so long, so you guys can easily trade for it. And the second charge move costs 10,000 Stardust to unlock. It is probably one of the cheapest, hardest hitting Pokemon in Go Battle League that can cover the meta, and you definitely want to take a look at it. Now, this team overall is pretty good. I don't think it's one of the best ones that I've made. It feels kind of funky, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do to change around with it, but as a first starting team for Season 2, I think it's alright. Alolan Raichu, right, breaking apart that Registeel Azumarill core, and then we have Umbreon as a great bulky protection, and then Vigoroth on safe switch I think is really key, because what it'll do is if you lead with Alolan Raichu, right, maybe you lose lead, maybe you face off against a Whiscash or something, you go into Vigoroth, what they're most likely going to do is bring in Azumarill, and if you get ahead on energy, you could potentially win that matchup with Body Slam spam based on that, or if you lose it and you get shields and you maintain shield advantage, you can farm down with Alolan Raichu and really put a lot of pressure on their backline with shield advantage. It's got some great coverages on the meta. The biggest weaknesses, there's quite a few, but the thing is these are all manageable, right? Venusaur being a huge weakness is manageable. Vigoroth has Body Slam spam, which does about 50% of Venusaur's health. Umbreon's got that foul play. Alolan Raichu's Wild Charge is still going to hurt quite a bit. So there's some play with it, even though there's quite a few counters, it's all manageable. But this team did feel slightly off, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do to change it just yet, but I think it's a good start for Season 2, and it's got some great coverages, and it's not Registeel Azumarill, so yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This team, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10 because it feels kind of weird, but I think there's a very high skill cap with Alolan Raichu, like I said earlier. So definitely look to get yourself one. We're going to be showcasing it here more on the channel. I'm going to try my best to find such a solid team around it and try to get really good with Alolan Raichu. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know how you guys are doing in Season 2. Are you guys excited? What teams are you guys bringing? And like always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.